How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Tales of the Walking Dead. This is Season 1, Episode 2, and this one's entitled Blair / Gina. Once again, the episode is titled after the main characters. This is from August 21st, 2022, and is directed by Michael E. Satrazemis. Sorry if I mispronounced that. This episode stars Parker Posey and Jillian Bell. And this is a very interesting and different episode. Last time, in the first episode of the show, I said it wasn't that bad, but it was relatively safe and standard, you know? And yeah, not the best, not super memorable, but okay. And at the end of the review for the first episode, I said I wish they would experiment a little more and do something different. Well, then we get to this episode, and yeah, they definitely experimented a little more and did something different. Very, very different for The Walking Dead. We actually get a time loop story. Yeah, people are going around repeating the same events over and over. Very, very different for The Walking Dead. I guess before we get into this, brief, non-spoilery plot synopsis. We get these two women who work in an insurance company. There's other people there, but the main characters are this boss, played by Parker Posey, who is very full of herself and is intentionally made to be annoying. Then you get the receptionist, an underpaid character who really is just fed up with Parker Posey's character, and you can tell that there's a rift between the two women. The boss is going to go on vacation, so she's leaving work a little bit early, and she's gonna go take a nice vacation with her fiancé. However, she gets stuck in traffic and looks over at a nearby gas station and sees an employee. And that's when the zombie apocalypse starts to happen. The employee tries to steal this big gas truck, and of course it goes wrong. The truck explodes and kills everybody. Yeah, first little bit of the show and everybody's already dead, you know something's up. Well, all of a sudden, Parker Posey wakes up again, and she's back at the office about an hour before, and she's reliving the same events. And when she goes back to the gas station with her husband, she thinks it's a case of deja vu, but of course the employees go at the gas station again. She tries to steal the truck again. The zombies come again. And of course, everyone dies again. So she quite quickly realizes that she's stuck in some sort of loop, and the receptionist also starts to come to that realization as well, and the two women have to, A, survive, and B, figure out how to escape the loop, but also hopefully repair their relationship as well. Overall, there's a lot to like in this episode, and I guess first off I should mention the time loop. Other than the zombies themselves, there's not really that much supernatural stuff in The Walking Dead, so this was quite quickly a change of pace for the show, and I am curious what people thought of that. I mean, when they introduced the fact that there might be talking zombies in the main show, I was curious to see if people would, like, you know, lose their mind, but a lot of people like, huh, that's interesting, I wonder what's up with that. So I'm wondering if people receive this better than they might. It is, on its own, a really interesting story, and if you told me, hey, this is a fun zombie episode, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. The thing is, you know, tying it to The Walking Dead, it kind of seems odd that there's a, you know, supernatural element other than the zombies in the show. Now, that being said, if this does bug you, there is a little bit of an explanation towards the end. It's not really what the writers are going for, and it's probably not what really happened in the story, but there is just a couple lines towards the end of plausible deniability, so that if a supernatural time travel element ruins your Walking Dead headcanon, you can just say that it was that explanation. So there is that in there, but it's clearly just for the people that this will bug, you know? But personally, I didn't mind it. Time loops are really cool. Obviously, you have Groundhog Day is the first time loop movie that comes to mind. But with the fact that she's dying over and over again, really reminds me of like Edge of Tomorrow or Happy Death Day. There was another good time loop movie called Triangle where she's stuck on this boat. Really good movie. If you guys know any other time loop movies where the days are repeating over and over, I'd definitely like to hear about them. It's definitely a really cool concept to me. And you do stuff like this, especially set in the early days of the zombie apocalypse, that's a really good place for a time loop story. I'd actually thought of that myself, but of course The Walking Dead beat me to it. But the idea that it's the early days, you don't quite know what's going on, and any little move you make could really screw you or someone else over, but if you could do it again and sort of know, okay, this zombie's gonna come from over there, this person's gonna react this way, you could really kind of get it down, and it's a really interesting concept, and I do like it. You know, there are a few elements that you put into play. You know, there's the initial zombie, there's a guy working for the government, you may be able to get information out of him, there's the truck driver, how's he going to react, and, you know, lots of little puzzle pieces, and I do like, you know, since it's only a TV episode and they didn't have a bunch of time to flesh out the entire world, they kept it confined pretty much to this gas station, so you could learn these little moving pieces. And there are some tighter elements. For example, between the first and the second go-around, the time the receptionist gets to the truck, the second time, she doesn't interact with her as quickly, so she gets to the truck sooner, and the guy's actually able to decouple it. Meanwhile, the first go-around, she talked to Parker Posey, so she got there later, and the guy kept saying, it's not safe to uncouple the truck right now. So I do like the little clockwork pieces. I do wish they were tighter and there were more intricacies, and I think the biggest example of this is when we do get to the montage, because there's always got to be a montage in a time loop movie, it seems, and when you get to the montage, it only does like 2 or 3 variants of the timeline, and they are interesting things, but when you do the montage, you're supposed to show like hundreds of days, you know, and show them really getting the pattern down and knowing every little detail. But having the montage be just like 2 or 3 scenarios, it's like, no. You're supposed to make it look like there's hundreds, you know, and that really is one thing that was missing. You know, it's good, but it really could have been like way, way tighter. But that being said, I still do love time loop movies, and it is good to see that, and it is really different for The Walking Dead. I just am curious if it messed with anybody. Another thing, early days of the zombie apocalypse. I get in the main show, Rick goes into a coma, we skip over all this because cut to the chase, and it also makes Rick have to explore the world, you know? So we didn't get to see this the first time around, and I really do like a good day one story, and here's a good opportunity for that. We get the classic, you know, news stories talking about violence and murder, and we as an audience know it's really the zombies. There is a new thing added where they say that there was a gas shortage at this time, which I don't think we've heard about before, but it is an interesting detail, and I wonder if more can be gleaned out of it. But also, another big thing with this is the humor, you know. You get Parker Posey's character, obviously intentionally written to be quite comedic, you know. She has a silly costume, she's got like this vest on that looks like it's made out of grass, and, you know, a good bit of humor with her there. It's not the biggest, most side-splitting thing ever, but it is a good bit of levity, and it did get a couple good laughs out. So yeah, there's humor in this, and that's one thing I also want to say with this show. The last episode, Terry Crews, you had a good bit of humor there too, and you know, the regular Walking Dead show, and Fear as well, they're always very dry. You know, there are some funny moments, but they're not the wackiest thing ever. So to see a Walking Dead show, and 2 out of the 6 episodes so far have been really funny, I'm wondering how funny this show will be. You know, a good bit of levity and a good joke is always appreciated. Hopefully we don't get to that, you know, Marvel mandated humor level, but I do appreciate it when it's done right, and so far it hasn't overstayed its welcome. But also I want to say, as we wrap up, you know, this definitely was a wider step in experimentation. The first one was really standard, and I definitely criticized it for that. The second one went, you know, really crazy and gave us a, you know, sci-fi supernatural time loop of some kind, and I feel it's definitely more memorable, and now I'm wondering what all kinds of stories are we going to get, how big a variety there will be, you know. Like I said, it, you know, very different for The Walking Dead, but if we can go here and we can do this, what else are we going to get? And I am curious, you know, how big and how crazy the show will go, especially with the main show ending. Maybe there's less pressure, and maybe they're just gonna go and give us absolutely insane stories. So this episode does spark my hope for more story variety, and I really do want to see a bunch of different stuff. I still, you know, it's The Walking Dead. I feel it kind of has to feel like The Walking Dead, but at the same time, variety is something I'd be curious about. So, you know, keep it horror, but also maybe do crazy stuff. I don't know. That being said, I'm curious for episode 3. I know this review got out a little bit late, and I think at the time of recording, episode 3 is sitting in my DVR, so I'm definitely going to go and check that out and hopefully get to it really soon. You know, the first one I thought this show might be fine but standard, but with this one really, you know, kind of smashing the boundaries, I am really curious where this show will go, and I'm looking forward to the other episodes a lot more if they really are anything could happen. So fingers crossed for episode 3. I'm going to go watch that in a little bit, and hopefully I'll get that review out soon, and hopefully it'll be good, but I don't know. I don't really know anything about episode 3 yet. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. If you guys want to see more, I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my 2022 playlist, where I talk about all the movies and TV I reviewed from this year. On the TV side, I talked about Amazon Prime's Paper Girls, Disney Plus's Moon Knight, Starz did Shining Vale, which is pretty good. So I've talked about a bunch of stuff in addition to the movies like X and Scream and stuff like that. So if you want to see more, a playlist should pop up in a second. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. 2022 playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.